This week on Motoworld, Supercross and the Coors Extra Gold Super Challenge dance to the music of nearby Motown. In Northern California, the hills come alive with the sounds of AMA Grand National Championship dirt track racing. And we'll visit with Dr. Harry Hurt regarding his study of motorcycle safety. All this and more next on Motoworld. And welcome to Motoworld. We'll open today's show with a look at an AMA Grand National Championship dirt track race that, according to the official schedule, was the second event of the championship series. There are, however, some very prominent racers that thought event number 2, the Sacramento Mile, was the real season opener. Here with that story is Chris Larson.
For the first time ever, the AMA's Camel Pro Dirt Track Championship Series opened in Florida during Daytona Speed Week. The short track event was won by Canadian Steve Asseltine aboard a Harley-Davidson, and therein lies the discrepancy. A number of riders feel the real racing gets underway only when the big bore machines are brought out at the Sacramento Mile, event number 2 on the schedule. Defending dirt track champ Scott Parker explained.
Well, Daytona was the actual start, but actually the good racing becomes here, I think. Like I say, I love the mile racing along with the half-mile racing. And there ain't nothing like a Sacramento Mile, San Jose Mile, or a Springfield Mile.
Oh, Daytona was definitely the start because they had a camel race down there, and I ended up 5th in that, and that gave me 10 points, so that was a pretty good start.
For the final word, we called on veteran Steve Moorhead.
I consider this is because it's 750cc motorcycle racing, and this is our Rolling Thunder show. It's mile dirt track racing, probably one of the most exciting motorsports racing you'll ever find.
The opening laps of the Sacramento Mile more than supported Steve Moorhead's theory as Harley teammates Chris Carr and Scott Parker battled for the lead. On lap 3, though, the race for winner's points was over. Parker, with a burst of speed, ran away from the rest of the field. The war, though, had just begun. First, it was Chris Carr, number 20 from Manteca, California, and number 31, Dan Ingram from Indianapolis, Indiana, that provided the fireworks while fighting over second. A few laps later, it was Terry Poovey, number 18 from Euless, Texas, in second, with Ingram in third and Carr slightly off the pace in fourth. That trio of riders battling for second, third, and fourth gave the Sacramento fans their money's worth by swapping positions throughout the race. Parker, meanwhile, had flat disappeared. At the checkered flag, the defending champ had almost a full straightaway lead. Finishing second was Chris Carr, who had taken control of that position late in the race. Terry Poovey was third, and Dan Ingram fourth. For Parker, it was the 21st national win of his career and the 5th win at the Sacramento track. Reporting from Motoworld, I'm Chris Larson.
Team Suzuki presents the Motoworld Suzuki Event Calendar. A look at some of the major events coming up in the world of motorcycles and ATVs.
Road Atlanta in Brazelton, Georgia is the site for round 2 of the AMA National Road Race Series. Action takes place on May 6th and 7th. Round 4 of the AMA National Enduro Series heads to Michigan on May 7th. Traverse City will host the event. The stars of the AMA Outdoor Motocross National Championships invade Southwick, Massachusetts on May 21st. 125 and 250cc class riders will see action.
Still to come on Motoworld, action from the Supercross doubleheader in Pontiac, Michigan. A look at what one man is doing on the subject of motorcycle safety. And coming up next, we'll visit an annual party that has become a Supercross tradition. Stay tuned to the Nashville Network. To admit it, but a couple of shows ago, we goofed. We ask you to stay tuned as we roll credits for a look back at a Supercross party in Dallas. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. So, to make up for it, here's that party, and you're invited. Steve and Dee Goodman, the couple in the middle, for the past several years have opened their doors to Supercross competitors, sponsors, groupies, and others. The annual affair is known simply as Goodman's Party. Believe me, though, there is nothing simple about it. For example, this ice carving combining all the elements of Supercross. Who modeled for the camel, you say? Hang on, we'll show you when the party's over. Meanwhile, let's watch some exciting basketball in Goodman's garage. You know, it's probably a good thing these guys chose motocross. I don't think they would make it in the NBA, although Johnny O'Mara did exhibit some superb ball handling. And watch this three-point attempt by Jeff Stanton. Not bad. Now let's take a look at the more gentlemanly game of billiards. Who's that? Scott USA Fats, of course. The man definitely has an eye. And for those wishing to avoid all semblance of physical activity, there was a blackjack game. Just for fun, of course. At least Damon Bradshaw looked like he was having fun. But the most fun at the Goodmans, as is the case at most parties, was the company and conversation. Team rivalries were forgotten while friendship was promoted. And who did pose for the camel in the ice carving? Let's go back to the track and find out. You decide.
Earlier in the show, Dennis Torres talked briefly about Bubba Schobert's on-track accident. Unfortunately, incidents like that, both on and off the track, occasionally happen in motorcycling. In this week's Coors Behind the Scenes segment, we'll look at one man who is trying to isolate those incidents and reduce them. Mark McKay has the story.
Most motorcycle accident surveys are concerned with the extent of rider-passenger injuries and the potential cost to state or federal governments. Professor Harry Hurt of USC recently completed a survey, though, that was quite a bit different.
What we did is that with the support of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, financially, we designed a program for researching the causes and the cures of motorcycle accidents.
To find the causes and cures, teams of specially trained personnel responded to over 1,000 motorcycle accidents. They measured, took photos, analyzed, and interviewed all parties concerned. The information obtained was thoroughly studied, then submitted to the Department of Transportation in a 425-page report. And what does the report say is the #1 cause of motorcycle accidents?
The great majority of the motorcycle accidents are caused by drivers of the other vehicle. In other words, typically the motorcycle riders coming down the street, automobiles coming the other way, and the automobile turns left in front of the oncoming motorcycle, and there's a collision there where the driver of the automobile says that he never saw the motorcycle.
Identifying the cause of motorcycle accidents is one thing. Finding a cure for the problem is another. In the meantime, why not cut your losses?
The requirements for protection are relatively simple. You've got to have a good helmet. You've got to have good eye protection so you can see where you're going.
Professor Hurt and his crew have collected close to 1,000 helmets worn by motorcyclists involved in accidents. Those helmets, plus new ones, are minutely examined and tested. The results speak for themselves.
We've disassembled these helmets and examined them in detail to determine how they performed in the accident. Probably the damage that you see in all these helmets, especially the severe damage, might give the impression of severe injuries to the person, but no, in most instances, these helmets have a very happy story to tell, that the helmet took the damage and not the person inside.
The long-term cure for motorcycle accidents could very well rest in the hands of motorcyclists themselves. It's the belief of many that most riders are not properly trained to ride in streets with traffic. This was recognized by American Honda, and they decided to do something about it. When the ribbon was cut, opening the first of many planned rider education centers, a major step toward motorcycle accident reduction was taken. At the center, riders are taught awareness and how to react to potential accident situations. Reporting for Motoworld, this is Mark McKay.
When Motoworld continues, we'll head out to Motown for rounds 11 and 12 of the Coors Extra Gold Super Challenge and Camel Supercross Series. We'll be right back. The Supercross Series moved to the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan for rounds 11 and 12. The weekend was originally slated as homecoming for Michigan native and series points leader Jeff Stanton. It turned out to be anything but.
No Michigan rider has ever won a pro motocross national title. Stanton, though, with a substantial series points lead and the season winding down, is on the verge. But in the backyard of the Team Honda Ace at the Pontiac Silverdome, a pair of Kawasaki riders turned Stanton and the rest of the field green with envy. On opening night, it was the Ron Lachine show. The El Cajon native, after a brief struggle with teammate Jeff Ward, ran off and hid from the rest of the field. Stanton, meanwhile, was kicking and clawing to gain as many positions as possible. The Michigan native was the victim of a first corner altercation that left him dead last. Stanton eventually worked up to fifth. The story, though, was up front. Lachine's performance was as strong as any witnessed throughout the series. The Team Kawasaki rider easily took the win, followed by Guy Cooper in second and Jeff Ward in third. For winning his first Supercross of the season, Ron Lachine from El Cajon, California, is our Castrol Rider of the Week. The Team Kawasaki rider will receive a commemorative plaque and a special racing jacket for being named Castrol Rider of the Week. In the second half of the twin bill, it was green again. This time it was former Supercross champ Jeff Ward that showed the field the short way around the track. Stanton's start, while much better than the night before, was still not good enough. The Michigan rider took over second, 7 seconds behind Ward, and was unable to gain. Since returning to action after missing the first part of the season, Ward has been on a tear. The former champ has finished no worse than third, and counting Pontiac, has captured 3 outright wins. As the Supercross Series winds down, the leaderboard looks like this. Jeff Stanton is on top with 236 points, followed by Honda teammate Guy Cooper with 203. Ron Lechine is third, Suzuki's Johnny O'Mara fourth, and Rick Johnson, despite missing the last 7 races, holds down the number 5 spot. The next stop in the Camel Supercross Series and the Coors Extra Gold Super Challenge is Giant Stadium in New Jersey on Saturday, the 6th of May. In 125cc action, Damon Bradshaw, number 45 from Charlotte, North Carolina, scored a pair of wins to take over the Eastern 125cc Series lead. Mike Kidrowski, with a pair of second-place Pontiac finishes, is only 3 points behind Bradshaw. Look for this series to go to the wire.
Stay with us. When we return, an exclusive Motoworld report and video of Bubba Schobert's crash from the recent United States Road Race Grand Prix at Laguna Seca Raceway. Keep it tuned to the Nashville Network. As Dennis Torres reported earlier in the show, road racer Bubba Schobert was involved in a serious accident at the recent U.S. Grand Prix at Laguna Seca. From time to time, in almost every professional sport, tragedy occurs, whether it's football, hockey, auto racing, snow skiing, hunting, or yes, motorcycling. Accidents do happen, and sometimes with fatal results. Thankfully, the Schobert incident has not resulted in a fatal injury. At the time of this report and its premiere broadcast, Schobert was listed in critical but stable condition on a life support system. He's in an artificially induced coma and heavily sedated. According to Christy Walter, Public Relations Director of the San Jose Medical Center, the major concerns are head injuries, which will be evaluated during Bubba's recovery process. The other rider involved in the Schobert incident, Kevin McGee, was still in the hospital at the time of this report. According to Alan Hirsch, spokesperson for Sequoia Hospital in Redwood City, California, McGee suffered a broken ankle. McGee is in the orthopedic unit of the hospital and listed in good condition. In a separate incident during the race, fellow Australian Wayne Gardner also was a victim of an accident. At the time of this report, the extent of the 1987 World Champion's injury could not be confirmed by Motoworld. However, track sources reported a problem with one of his legs, possibly a fractured ankle. Ironically, and this is the most unusual and freak aspect of the Schobert accident, the crash occurred after the actual race during the cool-off lap. Here is footage from 2 track spectators taken with their home video cameras. Now from the second camera, from a different vantage point.
Yeah! Kevin Schwartz coming through. Kevin McGee. We'll take a look. Look at this! Yo! Oh! We got somebody going off coming out of 5. Was, but Lawson stopped to see what happened.
Oh, McGee's hurt.
It was a red and white bike.
Oh, 25, that's Bubba Schobert. Schobert hit the back of McGee doing a wheel burn. I don't believe this.
3-time world champion Eddie Lawson, who narrowly missed being a part of the catastrophe, had this to say to Motoworld about the incident.
Bubba and I came out of the last corner onto the old circuit together, and Kevin McGee had stopped in the track. He stopped in the middle of the track for what reason, I don't know. I guess maybe he ran out of gas, but we were riding side by side, and Bubba was looking at me, and he gave me the thumbs up, and I was looking back at him, and when we both looked up, there was Kevin in the middle of the track, and I went to the right, and Bubba went to the left, but he didn't quite make it, and ran into the back of him, and I had just missed him by inches. After I had gotten to him, he looked like he was in pretty bad shape, and so I motioned for the ambulance to get over there right away, and it looked like that Bubba cinches up his helmet strap very tight, and it looked like he wasn't getting any air. So I asked him to cut the strap on his helmet, and they had taken it from there.
Bubba Schobert's personality, accomplishments, and style have made him one of the most popular American-bred motorcycle racers in recent history. Our prayers and thoughts for a speedy and full recovery are with Bubba. If you would like to join us in expressing your thoughts and wishes, please send your cards and letters to Bubba Schobert, care of the San Jose Medical Center, 675 East Santa Clara Street, San Jose, California, 95112. That's Bubba Schobert, care of the San Jose Medical Center, 675 East Santa Clara Street, San Jose, California, 95112. God bless you, Bubba, and we hope to see you out on the track again soon. Until next week, for all of us here at Motoworld, I'm Larry Myers.
4 games, no less.